she declared. Your kids' trust funds are just sitting there while mine have nothing. I said nothing, just showed her the statements how she emptied them. When her parents found out where the money really went, I, 38 male, am sitting in my home office staring at bank statements that make me sick to my stomach. My wife Veronica, 35, of 4 years just stormed out after I confronted her with evidence that she's been stealing from my children. Background: I have 2 kids from my previous marriage, Lily, 14, and Noah, 12. Their mom passed away from cancer 6 years ago. Before she died, her parents, kids' grandparents, set up education trust funds for both kids. Nothing crazy, about $50 each that they'd been contributing to since birth. Meant for college, trade school, whatever path they chose. When I married Veronica, she brought 2 kids, Jade, 13, and Aiden, 11. I've tried to treat them equally, pay for their activities, clothes, everything from our household income. But the trust funds were specifically from their maternal grandparents, completely separate. Veronica's always made comments about the unfairness of my kids having this money. I've explained repeatedly that I didn't create these funds, can't just redirect them, and her kids have 2 living parents who could save for them if they chose to. The red flags started about a year ago when she became obsessed with getting added to the trust accounts for transparency. Said as their stepmother, she should know what's happening with family money. I resisted but eventually caved because she wore me down with constant arguments about trust in marriage. Stupid. So stupid. Last week, she sat me down for a serious talk. Said we needed to address the inequality in our home. Her exact words: your kids' trust funds are just sitting there while mine have nothing. It's not fair that they get to go to any college they want, while my babies might struggle. I tried explaining again that this money came from their deceased mother's parents, not me. That's when she hit me with, well, maybe we should use some of it for family expenses now. The kids can take loans like everyone else. That set off alarm bells. I told her absolutely not, and asked why she was suddenly so concerned about theoretical future college costs. She got defensive, started yelling about me not caring about her kids, then stormed off to her sister's house for the night. The next morning, I logged into the trust accounts. $87,000 missing, between both accounts. My hands literally shook as I downloaded every statement from the past year. Systematic withdrawals starting small. $500 here, $1,000 there. Then bigger chunks, $5,000, $8,000. The most recent? $15,000 just 2 weeks ago. I printed everything. Then I sat at the kitchen table and waited. When she came home, I didn't say a word, just slid the statements across the table. Her face went white, then red. Then came the excuses. I was going to put it back. I needed it for expenses. My kids deserve equal treatment. You're so stingy with money. I asked her one question. Where is it? Silence. Where is the money, Veronica? That's when she broke down and admitted she'd been sending it to her ex-husband because he was struggling and threatening to take her to court for more child support. Rather than use our money or get a job herself, she stole from my children. I told her she had 48 hours to figure out how to return every penny or I'd be calling the police. She left, actually left. Said I'd never do that to the mother of her children, and she knew her rights as my wife. I'm done. Meeting with a divorce attorney tomorrow and a criminal attorney after that. She's still at her sister's, texting me alternating between threats and apologies. My kids don't know yet. How do I tell them that the money their grandparents saved for their future is gone? Update 1. The last 72 hours have been insane. Thank you to everyone who told me to act fast. You were right. First thing Monday morning, I met with a divorce attorney. Brought all the bank statements, documentation showing she was added as a co-trustee, and proof of the withdrawals. Attorney's face was grim. Said financial abuse of children's trust funds during marriage is serious, but prosecuting spouses is complicated. Then I met with the bank. Turns out she hadn't just been withdrawing cash, she'd been writing checks to her ex-husband Derek directly from the trust accounts. The bank had copies of everything. Here's where it gets worse. I called Derek to find out if he'd return the money. His response? What money? Veronica hasn't given me anything extra. So I hired a forensic accountant. Within 24 hours, they found it. $23,000 in cash withdrawals, untraceable. $30,000 in checks made out to cash, deposited into an account she opened in just her name. $34,000 in checks to various LLCs that trace back to her brother-in-law, sister's husband. She wasn't giving money to her struggling ex. She was funneling it to her sister's family to hide it. When I confronted her via text with this info, she went ballistic. Showed up at the house at 2 a.m., pounding on doors, screaming that I was financially abusing her by not sharing the trust funds. Woke up the entire neighborhood. I called the police. She told them I was stealing from her children and holding money hostage. Officer asked for documentation. I showed him everything. The trust documents, clearly stating the funds were for my children only. The withdrawals, her signatures. She was told to leave the property. As she was getting in her car, she screamed, "I'll make sure you never see my kids again. They'll hate you for what you're doing to their mother." The next morning, my attorney filed emergency petition to freeze all marital assets, police report for theft, divorce papers citing financial misconduct. But here's the kicker. Remember those LLCs the money went to? Her brother-in-law Ramon runs a business consulting company. Very convenient that Veronica suddenly needed lots of consulting services that required payment from children's trust funds. My forensic accountant is now working with law enforcement. This isn't just theft, it's an organized scheme. Update 2. The entitlement has reached astronomical levels. Veronica hired an attorney, some bargain basement guy, who apparently told her she could claim the trust funds were marital assets since we were married when she was added as trustee. He sent a letter demanding half the remaining trust funds in the divorce, spousal support, child support for her 2 kids who aren't mine, the house, plus $100 for emotional distress. My attorney actually laughed, sent back a simple response: criminal charges pending for theft from minors' trust funds. That's when the dirty trick started. Trick 1, she called my employer claiming I was embezzling and financially unstable. Thank God I'd already given HR a heads up about the divorce. They documented her call and sent me a copy. Trick 2, she tried to empty our joint checking account. Joke's on her. I'd already removed all but $100 after my attorney advised it. She got $100 and a declined debit card at Target. Trick 3, started telling everyone in our social circle that I was hiding money from her kids and being an evil stepfather. Several mutual friends reached out asking what was really going on. I responded to exactly one person, our neighbor Deb, who's known my kids since we moved in. Showed her one single bank statement showing a $15,000 withdrawal from my daughter's college fund. Word spread fast after that. Then came the extinction the complete meltdown. Veronica and her sister Gloria showed up at my kids' school, told the office they were picking them up for a family emergency. Thank God I'd already notified the school about the situation. Security was called. They were escorted off property. That night, I get a call from an unknown number. It's Ramon, the brother-in-law. "Hey man, this is all a big misunderstanding. Veronica invested that money in my business for the kids' future. I can show you the paperwork. Let's meet and sort this out." I recorded the entire call, legal in my state. Told him all communication goes through attorneys. He got aggressive. "You're making a big mistake. I have connections. This won't end well for you if you don't drop this." "Are you threatening me?" "I'm just saying, accidents happen. Be smart." I went straight to the police station with the recording. Turns out Ramon has a record: fraud, embezzlement, theft. The detective's eyes lit up when I showed him the LLC paperwork and bank transfers. They opened a formal investigation that night. Update 3. Everything exploded when Veronica's parents got involved. Gerald and Patricia are old school, religious, very proper people. They've always been kind to me and adored my kids. Veronica had been telling them I was going through a midlife crisis and abandoning the family. They called asking to meet for coffee to talk sense into me. I agreed, but brought something with me. A folder containing every bank statement showing the withdrawals, the canceled checks to Ramon's LLCs, the police report, the recording of Ramon threatening me. I'll never forget Patricia's face as she read through everything. Gerald had to help her to a chair. She stole from children? From Lily and Noah's college funds? When I confirmed and showed them the total, $87,000, Patricia started crying. Gerald's face turned purple. "Where is this money now?" he asked. I explained about Ramon, the fake LLCs, the consulting services. That's when Patricia dropped a bomb. Ramon asked us to invest in his new business venture 6 months ago, said he had secured significant funding and could guarantee 20% returns. My stomach dropped. "How much did you give him?" $50,000. The pieces clicked. Veronica wasn't just stealing from my kids, she was part of a scheme to defraud her own parents too. Gerald immediately called his attorney. Within 48 hours, they'd frozen a trust they'd set up for Veronica, demanded Ramon return their investment, hired their own investigator. That's when things went nuclear. Veronica showed up at my work with her kids, causing a scene in the lobby. Security had to escort her out while she screamed about me destroying her family, and her kids cried. I felt horrible for Jade and Aiden. None of this was their fault. That night, Gerald called me. Ramon had been arrested. Turns out the investigation uncovered a whole web of fraud, fake businesses, forged documents, multiple victims, and Veronica's name was all over the paperwork as a consultant. The next morning, she was arrested at Gloria's house. Final update. The dust has settled, and the truth has destroyed Veronica's carefully constructed life. The investigation revealed 11 different victims totaling $400,000 in fraud. Veronica was listed as secretary-treasurer on all Ramon's fake LLCs. She received consulting fees totaling $127,000 over 18 months. $87,000 came from my kids' trust funds, the rest from other victims. She was charged with theft from minors, fraud, money laundering, conspiracy. Her parents bailed her out, but with conditions. She had to move back home, surrender her passport, and give them power of attorney to help recover assets. The money? Here's what was recovered. $43,000 from Ramon's accounts, frozen by police. $15,000 from Veronica's secret account. $30,000 from sale of Ramon's boat and motorcycle. Gerald and Patricia liquidated Veronica's trust, $40,000, and gave it to me. Total, $128,000. More than enough to restore the trust funds and cover legal fees. The divorce was finalized last week. She got her personal belongings, her car that she's still making payments on, supervised visitation with her kids, who now live with Derek full-time. A felony record I got, the house, full custody of my kids, restoration of their trust funds, a restraining order. The saddest part? Jade and Aiden. They're good kids who got caught in their mother's greed. Derek, who turned out to be a decent guy just trying to raise his kids, has them in therapy. I told him they're welcome in my home anytime. They were part of our family for 4 years, and none of this is their fault. Gerald and Patricia visit my kids regularly now. They're devastated by what their daughter did, but determined to maintain a relationship with Lily and Noah. Last week, Patricia brought photo albums of my late wife from when she was young, pictures I'd never seen. My daughter cried happy tears. Veronica? She's awaiting trial, working at a fast food place, and living in her childhood bedroom at 35. Last I heard, she was still telling people I set her up and overreacted to a misunderstanding. No accountability, no remorse, just endless victimhood. My kids know the truth now, age-appropriately explained. They're hurt but resilient. Their trust funds are whole again, plus some. They'll be able to go to college debt-free, just like their mom wanted. Sometimes the best revenge isn't elaborate. It's just letting entitled people face the natural consequences of their choices. Veronica thought she was smarter than everyone else, thought she could steal from children and manipulate her way out of it. She thought wrong. Quick final update. Veronica was convicted on all charges. 2 to 5 years prison, ordered to pay restitution to all victims. During sentencing, she blamed everyone but herself. Me, Ramon, her parents, the system. The judge wasn't impressed. Gerald and Patricia have set up small college funds for Jade and Aiden. They said it's what grandparents do, and those kids shouldn't suffer for their mother's crimes. My kids are doing well. Lily just made honor roll, and Noah's soccer team made it to state championships. Their trust funds are secure, in accounts Veronica will never touch again. To anyone dealing with financial abuse, document everything. Act quickly. Don't let guilt stop you from protecting your children's future. And never, ever, Add someone to your kids' accounts just to keep the peace. Peace isn't worth $87,000 and your children's futures.